back to the Hub on Hollywood, an iHeartRadio podcast. I'm your co-host, James Rojas.
And I'm Jamie Blanco.
On this week's episode, it is National Hispanic Heritage Month. And Jamie and I, we are both Hispanic, Latino, Hispanic. Well, do you identify as Latino or Hispanic?
Hispanic.
Okay.
I've always had a bone to pick with the Latina thing,
community?
But that's...
Oh, wow.
We'll talk about that later. Not the community, no,
Sure.
Just the label. Just the label.
Good.
Just the
Those
word.
are going to be fine words, but yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
We are celebrating Hispanic Heritage Month, so we are picking our favorite movies that showcase the Latino and Hispanic cultures. The cast of Hocus Pocus, the original cast, they're coming back to Massachusetts for Halloween and a special screening. We will talk about that. A look at Marvel's new show, Agatha All Along, a spin-off from the WandaVision series. Reviewing Netflix's new Love in Taipei. A couple projects rolling in New England, literally, figuratively. But, Jamie, we have to start with some rough news, and that is, despite these two projects we're going to be talking about soon, actors are kind of struggling right now, right?
We are. And I'm hearing it from all directions. And me, myself, James, I know we talk about the movies that are coming out. We've been talking about the movies that have come out that were filmed here in New England, and I'm always like, oh, I was in that one, and oh, I'm in the background there. Well, I've been in a whole lot of nothing since the beginning of this summer, right? For about the last 4 or 5 months, and I think everybody is feeling it. And the union representatives have been hearing it from their constituents also here in New England. It's been a dry patch. We haven't had a whole lot of projects. There's been 1 or 2, right? And then as soon as those were over, it's been rough. It's been rough. And that's something that the union... There are a number of factors as to why. There's a lot of contraction in the industry right now, as you know, and as we've talked about before. There are a lot of projects that are just going under, being canceled halfway through, or even when they're completely done, being canned. I think that the industry is trying to cut losses, come out with that profit, right? Things are contracting a bit, and the dual strikes, right, didn't really help there. And while we are always, fighting for people to make what they deserve, for what they, ought to be paid, big companies are not always going to let it affect their bottom line. And I think the bottom line right now is, regardless of the reason, which I'm not a total expert here, James. I'm just saying from my observation, regardless, we're feeling the pinch, and we're feeling the hurt right now for work in New England film. But in good news, there are 2 projects in particular, 2 of the larger projects that are coming locally. We've got the Ted TV series that is filming in Boston. Boston Casting is handling the background casting on that one, so be sure to sign up for Boston Casting, get those casting emails, don't miss out. And GWNYC is working on the next season of The Gilded Age, which is filming in Connecticut. I know it's not Massachusetts or Rhode Island. It's a little bit further down. Bit of a commute if you want to be on that one, but they're looking for folks who can do the period pieces, who look the part, no tattoos, you've got the solid colored hair, and who can pass for someone from the 1800s. If you want to be a part of that, you're going to want to reach out. You're going to email gildedage@gwcnyc.com with your name, phone number, your SAG ID, height, weight, clothing sizes, current photos, and they'll put you in their list for background for the Gilded Age. But still, we're hurting, James, and it's rough. It's tough when you're fighting for your what you're duly owed, right? And so many people sacrificed so much during those extended strikes to now, drops in the bucket in terms of work. So it's just been a tough year. It's been a tough year, and we're really hoping that things look up. And we've got to try to get a union person on here to kind of, I don't know, assuage us, answer some questions, let us know a little bit more about what's actually happening.
Well, we'll try to find out. If you are a part of the SAG-AFTRA union or maybe non-union and you are experiencing this kind of dry spell that we're going through right now and want to voice your concerns, express yourself, be heard, reach out to us and we'll invite you out. We'll invite you onto the Hub on Hollywood. Not to change subjects too much, but speaking of the Gilded Age, my family and I, we actually just went to Rhode Island. We went to Nantucket. And there they have like all the mansions, the big, gaudy, what do they call it? What's that movie? The Great Gatsby, mansions. Right. And we went to the Marble House, which a room there inspired a room or a set on the Gilded Age. And so it's kind of cool, to walk through this area that's been, preserved and, you have furniture of that era and, kind of walking through and imagining what it was like to live back then in the late 1800s, early 1900s during this weird, wild, what's the word? Gaudy. Just no other better word than just gaudy kind of lifestyle. So that was kind of a weird experience. But yeah, we did go into a room that it had a little poster saying this room inspired the Gilded Age, or or this room or this character or whatnot.
I do have to correct myself. So the filming is not in Connecticut. It is in Rhode Island. It is in Rhode Island. So Newport, Rhode Island, where you're talking about. Which,
Rhode Island getting more shout-outs. Woo.
There we go.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit closer to Massachusetts, so apologies there. Yes, it's going to be filming in Newport, Rhode Island.
And in the last shout-out, you mentioned Ted as well, and we talked about Ted in I believe it was our previous episode, or maybe the one before then, talking about how people were talking about bad Boston accents and how Ted is one of those shows where it is believable. People like it. They dig it. And people from here, they're not offended by the Boston accent in that show. So very popular from what I hear. I haven't watched it, but it's obviously a spinoff from the movies. Speaking about the movies and what's filmed here, actually, Challengers, you watched it, you reviewed it here on the Hub on Hollywood. I have yet to see it. However, good news for me and my wife, it is now on Amazon Prime. So I'm going to be checking that out very, very soon because they did a lot of filming in Massachusetts in the Boston area.
Exactly. If you want to see Zendaya as a literal, metaphorical, and every way, like tennis ball, watch Challengers. Yeah.
Yeah. And no sex scene from what I hear. But that's not. I don't think that's a spoiler. But people were ramping it up like this is the movie where Zendaya has a threesome, and people were disappointed.
Right, so there's no threesome, but there's plenty of other spicy scenes that you guys will enjoy. So.
Jamie approved?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, you know what else is Jamie approved? The original cast of Hocus Pocus. Those guys and gals are fantastic. If you have been with us on the Hub on Hollywood for over a year or more, you should be. Just saying, subscribe, liking, following. But we interviewed Vanessa Shaw, Omri Katz, and Jason Marsden last year when they came for the Just a Bunch of Halloween meet and greet events in Salem, Massachusetts, the Halloween capital of the world. And not only were they there to, sign autographs, take photos, and recreate some scenes, but they also walked around and were taken on a tour of Salem where, a lot of shots were filmed for the original movie. And they are coming back not only for another round of It's Just a Bunch of Halloween with special guests Larry Bagby and Tobias Jelinek, who played Ice and Jay in the first film. But they are going to be here also screening Hocus Pocus in Beverly, Massachusetts at the Cabot Theater, followed by a Q&A. This is happening on October 13th. Jamie, were you surprised with how big of a deal their visit last year was? Like, it feels like everybody turned out, rain or shine, literally rain.
Yeah, we got poured on. But I wasn't surprised because it was also a huge anniversary, right? It was the 30th year anniversary of the film, and to have the original cast there just hanging out with everybody, right?
They're so down to earth. They're so
down
awesome,
to earth and approachable.
So cool.
and just, drinking with everybody and dancing with everybody. I mean, it was really wonderful, and they had the outdoor events there in Salem. So I love that they're coming back here, right, to the heart and soul, where they're just the it's like this is the mecca of their star power, right? This is
Yeah.
I don't even know what I'm saying, but Halloween, Hocus Pocus, Salem, Massachusetts, like this is where the movie was based, filmed, and this is where the biggest fan set is, and what a special thing to look forward to and to do, and for them not only just to come for that big anniversary, but to be coming back again
Yes.
this year. Gosh, that's awesome. That is so cool. So if you missed out last year, hey, here's your chance.
They're coming back, but before that, just a bunch of Halloween events. As I mentioned, they're going to be at the Cabot Theater Sunday, October 13th. Buy your tickets now because they are going to be going fast, and so they have a different kind of packages available: prime seating, meet and greets, photo ops, pre-autographed collectible posters. Again, it was so cool just to see like the line, because they had an outside tents last year, and again, it was raining, and so it was very good that they had a dry space to take photos, but people were literally waiting in line as far as the eye can see across the common in the rain to go there and meet these people for a movie that has impacted or left an impact or imprint on so many people's lives.
Right.
You and I, growing up in that perfect generation, that perfect age demo for this. And so I don't know. I always love seeing the array of ages over there when they went to go see them, because again, it's just a wholesome movie, great fun, and perfect Halloween movie, perfect Halloween vibe. So looking forward to seeing Vanessa, Omri, Jason, Larry, Tobias. It's going to be a great show. So check out those tickets. That's at thecabot.org, CABOT.org.
All
Buy them
right. And maybe you'll see us too.
Yeah. Well, we went down there last year, and we walked amongst the people, or amongst the monsters, and we did interviews. We interviewed a lot of witches, monsters. We included that in one of our podcast episodes. So be sure to go back on there, because it was fun to talk to people who put so much effort and time into their costumes to scare and make other people smile and delight. It's all that stuff. So Salem, Massachusetts, it's gotten so much more crowded in recent years. It's a pro and a con. It's a good and a bad kind of a thing. Yeah. But depending how you view it, it is a thing, and you can't deny that.
That's right.
Well, you know what else is a thing we cannot deny? This new movie called Love in Taipei. I've been hoping to say that right this entire time.
Love in Taipei, trending on Netflix right now. And I just wanted to bring this movie up, James, because last week we talked about The Choice, right? The conclusion being choose anything else but the choice.
But this movie.
And all of these awful tropes that happen in romance novels, movies, right? They just need to die. The permissiveness of all of this bad behavior, and the chasing the woman at the end, and the certain tropes that just absolutely need to die. And I think that this movie was so delightful to watch. 68% on the Rotten Tomato meter for films, and my husband Ron came in and was watching this at the same time that I was watching this, and he was trying to guess the ending. He's like, "Oh, this is so easy to predict," and blah 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 blah. And it wasn't. It wasn't, because it took all of those expectations for a sappy romance movie and flipped it on its head. So real quick, the synopsis of this movie, Love in Taipei. A sheltered young American named Ever Wong discovers first love during a wild, fun, and unforgettable summer in Taipei, Taiwan. Starring Rose Butler, Ashley Liao, Nico Haranga, Chelsea Zhang. I think it's a young, exciting cast. It's super cute, lighthearted, but it is not about this girl who's 21 years old just discovering love and, ooh, the rich guy and, and falling in love with the dude who's so successful and all of this and so handsome and so rich. Like a lot of movies, like you could compare this to Crazy Rich Asians, which is also a lot of fun and really cute and romantic. But I think it takes some of the basic tropes of those kinds of movies and the expectations for what's going to happen at the end and flips it over, right? And it's like, no, we don't really need that ending because what's more important is finding myself, right? And being true to myself, and without doing it in a way that's like super in your face or on the nose or anything like that. Like it's just very sweet and entertaining, and you get it. And it was enjoyable. Like I really, really liked watching this movie. So instead of choosing the choice, head over to Netflix and watch Love in Taipei. I guarantee you're going to have a really great time and you're going to leave smiling.
If successful and they make a sequel, do we expect it to be called Love in Taipei?
I don't. Why? Why would you?
Because it's two.
Okay.
Part two.
Yeah, maybe. Well, maybe they're like
Right?
old and the guy's bald now.
Yeah, he's like, I still love you despite that Taipei here in Taipei.
Yes, James.
See,
Whatever you
I
say.
can write this. I can write this movie, I feel like. I'm on a winning streak on these pitches.
That's right. That's right. That's what people come to the Hub on Hollywood for, right?
Absolutely.
For these unique, ideas. Hollywood should be I
Out
I
of
gotta
the
go check
box
my voicemail
thinking.
because
Yeah.
we have these great ideas every episode.
Well, excellent. Love in Taipei on Netflix right now.
You'll like it.
Sounds fun. Yeah, I like it. I'll check it out. So we'll check that out. But one thing we should also check out is some of our favorite movies that celebrate us, Jamie, you and me specifically.
Yeah.
But more so, I suppose, all Latinos and Hispanics out there in the world, because it is National Hispanic Heritage Month.
Woo.
And I picked some of my favorite movies where I feel represented, where I feel like my culture is represented.
Yeah.
And we'll get to this list, but I recall at the beginning of this episode, you have a beef, you have a bone to pick with
not
the
a
Latino
beef.
community. Is that what you're saying?
It's just, I'm not Latin. I don't speak Latin, right? I speak Spanish. I just more identify with the Hispanic label than the Latino, Latina, Latinx, label.
I don't like
And
Latinx. I don't know. That's just me.
I feel like, I grew up in Miami where, I was used to being the majority and not the minority. Everybody's Cuban down there. And then when I moved up here to Massachusetts, it was like my first time experiencing actually being a minority. And people was like calling me, "Oh, you're so Latina." I'm like, "Oh, I don't like the sound of that. Can you I'm Cuban, but like, can you like just not? Just don't, man. Oye, bro, no,
Jamie,
pero no.
Jamie, buckle up for an education, an educación. The term
Educación.
Latino originated in the 19th century as the shortening of the Spanish word Latino Americano, which means Latin American. It was coined to acknowledge the similarities between nations that were once owned by Spain. Does that change how you feel in any way?
Not really, no.
Okay, that's fair. Yeah, you know what's funny? Growing up, I'm Mexican American, so I kind of grew up with that term kind of being interchangeable. My direct, I guess my most recent ancestors, they originate from Mexico. However, my last name Rojas, it originates from Spain, Hispania. So I don't know. I feel like the term really doesn't really bother me. Or somebody says, "Are you Latino or Hispanic?" I say yes.
Yeah.
And so that doesn't really bother me. What does kind of bug me, and maybe you feel differently. I mean, we'll get to the movies in a minute. But how do you feel about the whole Latinx movement?
I don't think it's necessary.
I don't think it's necessary. I don't get it. I mean, it doesn't upset me or anger me. It just makes me just feel like, what are we doing? It makes me ask, what is this for? So I don't know. Maybe it helps some people. Maybe it makes people feel better, or maybe feel more represented in however way they want to be. I don't know. So
Yeah.
that confuses me.
Yeah, it does confuse me also because Latino is supposed to encompass everybody, right?
Yeah.
It's not really supposed to be gendered, right? I mean,
Yeah.
well, Latino encompasses everybody. So I didn't know. I'm like, well, why did you need the X if Latino already covers everybody? But look, we're not trying to offend people here. We're just
No.
but yeah, no, it confused me as well. And I think it was just the fact that people were coming up to me and being like, oh, you're so Latino. I'm like, I'm just like a person. So like, can we,
First of all, if somebody had walked up to me and said that, I would have assumed they were drunk for some reason.
yeah.
No one has ever walked up to me and said, "Hey, you are Latino."
Yeah. You know what? And we need. Here's another thing that I'm going to go off on a tangent for. We can cut this later.
Sure.
But
No.
James, I think that I think that a lot of people think that all Hispanic people are Mexican, right? And there's a loss in the nuance as to no, when you're from a different country, there's completely different food, completely different words and culture. So, when I moved up here, I'm Cuban, right? And there are no Cubans up here in Massachusetts. It's just there aren't. So I don't blame people for not knowing that Cuban food is not spicy. It's not spicy like Mexican food and stuff like that. But I would get every single time like, oh, let's go get this spicy food. I'm like, oh, I don't like spicy food. They're like, what's wrong with you?
You're like,
why don't? I thought you were Hispanic. I thought you were Mexican. I'm like, no, I am Cuban. And I don't. So
is that a trait? I love how we're going off on this tangent, but I think this is fine and very educational. So do Cubans not do a lot of spicy stuff?
No,
I didn't know that.
We do spices, but they're not spicy. You know? Like the cumin and the whatever that we use. Like it's spice, it's flavorful. Yeah. It's very flavorful and rich, but it's not spicy. Okay? So let's just settle this, once and for all.
The people are spicy.
The people are spicy. That's right.
They make up for the spice. Excellent. The thing is, again, I'm originally from Southern California, the Los Angeles area. So of course we are directly right next to the border. We are on the border with Mexico. So it's no surprise to anybody that our main Hispanic Latino demographic in Southern California or anywhere in the southern western states are Mexicans. So moving over here to Massachusetts in the Boston region, I realized that, that makes sense that Mexicans wouldn't be the predominant demographic because in Boston, again, this is a whole education system. Boston, 28% of Latinos, I don't know which year this is from, but according to this most recent report, 28% of Latinos are Puerto Rican, 24% are Dominican. Dominican's a lot over here. That I noticed a lot. Salvadorian, 11%, followed by Colombian, 6%, and with that, Mexican, also 6%. Mm-hmm. So,
and we're not even on the list. I'm not even.
You're not. And so that's interesting to see. Obviously, different parts of the country, different parts of the world, different immigrants and immigrants from their original country. My last name, Rojas, I don't run into many Rojases over here. I've run into one, and then I have heard of somebody who is also a Rojas because they work with somebody who has the same last name. So I don't really see that name too often over here. So I don't know. Demographics are fun. This is so fun. This is the hub on Latino education.
Hub on Latino. Yeah, and Blanco also originates from Spain. My grandfather's last name was Blanco de Leon, so of the Leon province.
That sounds so cool.
Yeah, you like that?
I like. Yeah.
His name was Agapito Antonio Arturo Blanco de Leon.
Again, we will get to the movies in a minute. But one thing about Mexicans also, maybe it's very common in many other Hispanic or Latino cultures, but everybody has like 5 names, and that's just because they just keep adding it to the birth certificate. So they'll have for example, if we were in Mexico, my name would probably be James, Andrew, Trujillo, Rojas, De La Cruz, or whatever. So that's just funny. But just keep tighten it up. It can't all fit on the birth certificate or on that college application form. So just tighten it up. All right.
And representation matters, James, too. So seeing ourselves on screen, right? Seeing other Hispanics on screen, having those stories told, they really matter because that shows you that you belong and you are a part and you are here, and I feel like there isn't a whole lot of of Hispanic representation out there, but the movies that there are, touch your heart,
Yeah.
and really, I feel like helped bring us up. And we're going to go into a list of some of these movies in honor of Hispanic Heritage Month. But I just wanted to mention really quickly, James, have you ever heard of a show called Que Pasa USA?
No.
Okay, because I feel like of all of the Hispanic representation out there, very little of it is Cuban. There is a TV show that I watched growing up that was very popular in Miami that was called Que Pasa USA? Que Pasa USA? And it was about, the different generations of Cuban American families in Miami. The grandparents who are angry at Castro and they don't speak a lick of English. The parents that are working really hard and raising, American kids and torn between two worlds, and the American kids who are trying to figure out their place in all of this. So that was a really beautiful, hilarious, and awesome show that I just wanted to give a shout out to at the top here. Que Pasa USA, go download it.
Well, since we're giving shout outs to things we watched, so there was a summer where myself, my sister, and two of my cousins, we were sent to Mexico to literally work on the fields, my grandfather's tequila fields, while my parents vacation in Europe, and they had the time of their life, and their children were sent to Mexico. That's a different story for another time. Anyway, so during that summer that we lived there, the only show that we would really watch that came good on the TV with the rabbit ears was El Chavo. Have you heard of the show El Chavo?
No.
El Chavo is a sitcom. Basically, it's about this poor boy who's Everybody in the show are adults, but they play 8-year-old kids. It's a very. If you watch a lot of Mexican shows, there's a lot of heavy makeup, and even for the children, and so it kind of has that just kind of very cheap vibe, but it works. It's a sitcom for not for kids, but for everybody. Anyway, it's about this kid, this boy El Chavo, who is poor and lives in a barrel, and he lives in this fictitious neighborhood, and there's this rich little boy who's always mean to him, calls him chusma, 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 and then. And all these other wacky characters. And so we watched that show during the entire summer, and I feel like that really helped my Spanish a lot just by watching that. So I need to start watching more Spanish shows because I really need to improve my own.
Helped me with mine too.
There's a YouTube channel that I subscribe to, and I swear we will get to the movies. But there's this YouTube channel that I subscribe to, so it's like teaching kids how to speak Spanish. So that's what I kind of need right now because I understand it, can't really speak it so well. But what I will say are some of these movies that I love. And my first pick for National Hispanic Heritage Month, my pick, if you know me, if you know the podcast, you will know I love Zorro. And as a kid, as you mentioned, representation matters. And as a kid, Zorro, starring Antonio Banderas, was one of the first movies where I could imagine myself and playing pretend to be Zorro, to be Antonio, to go around with this cape and whip and sword and everything else and mask. And I could put myself in that scenario, unlike many other shows, either cartoon or live action, that, you could, obviously resonate with and put yourself into. But this one looked like me, sounded like me, or at least sounded like the people who I know or lived with or grew up with. And so The Mask of Zorro is one of my favorite movies, one of my favorite fictitious characters of all time. So that is on my list for movies to watch during National Hispanic Heritage Month.
All right, the number one on my list, or one of the highest on my list, is Stand and Deliver.
Ooh, yeah.
Stand and Deliver, about the math teacher who, 1988 film, math teacher who's teaching in Los Angeles, Jaime Escalante, based on a true story, and he comes into this very poor school system with a lot of troubled kids, and he turns them around and he gets them all to pass this really advanced math test and get into college and, and achieve their dreams. I had to watch this movie, I feel like, every single school year of my life, they played this. From elementary on, growing up in Miami, where it was a very large Hispanic population, they showed this movie every single year in school, and it was an inspiration every single time that I watched it.
They're like,
so,
"Si se puede."
Si se puede, se puede.
You want to know a fun fact?
What?
A fun fact about that? So that's that school system that you described. That was how did you that
Troubled?
has troubled kids? Troubled kids.
Are you a
school
troubled
system?
kid?
My parents, my mom and my dad went to Garfield High School in East LA, East Los Angeles.
Yeah.
And so this is the school where this movie is based off of, where the actual, real teacher taught. And I believe those years overlapped when they were there. They never had him, but those years overlapped. And so, of course, they watched, when that movie came out, they watched it when it came out and everything. But
how's their math?
Oh, it's god awful. My dad can do math well, like the important math. My mom and like myself, we're terrible in math. Like we just need addition, subtraction, division, a little bit of of the other stuff. But math is not our forte. But my dad, I guess he was paying attention in math class. But Stand and Deliver, a classic. The actor who I'm blanking on, who plays the teacher in Stand and Deliver, he also stars in my next movie pick, which is Selena, which he plays the father of Selena, played by none other than Jennifer Lopez. This movie on repeat as well. There are times here when I'm at home with my child, or doing chores or whatever, and I pop on Selena, where she's performing at the Astrodome in Texas, like that whole concert, and like just dancing, like all como me duele. Like as soon as like that, any of those songs pop up, everybody's on the dance floor. So like Selena, great movie, great singer, a family favorite in Casa de Rojas. So that's a great one.
Just a tragic ending. That's all. That's all. But it's a beautiful, perfect movie. Another one on my list, a little bit more recent and fun. Let's say Encanto.
Yeah.
Set in fictional magical Colombia.
My wife was joking. Anything Lin-Manuel Miranda.
Yes.
Apparently, it's going to be on this list. Yes. Speaking about Lin-Manuel, my next one would be In the Heights, which is a play that he was in and then turned into film, starring Anthony Ramos, who was also in Hamilton, the Broadway show with Mr. Lin-Manuel Miranda. So In the Heights was great. Encanto, fantastic. Again,
also,
it's a family favorite.
Vivo was a Lin-Manuel Miranda movie also.
But I heard it's good.
Featured Cubans and Cuba. So thanks, Lin, for that one too. But keeping with my bias for Cuban representation.
Go for it. I'm going to be biased too.
I Love Lucy.
Wow,
One of the earliest Hispanic representations on television.
I like that.
Right?
I like that pick.
Lucille Ball had to fight so hard to have her actual husband, star alongside her and bring that exposure to American life and to have it be such a powerful and important part of television history. That's something to be really proud of. And my daughter is Desiree, but we call her Desi, and she is partially named so for Desi Arnaz, who played Ricky Ricardo.
This is a Desilu production.
Yes.
So actually, another fun fact, because we're chock full of them over here on the Hub on Hollywood.
Let's go.
So Lucille Ball, she, when putting the show together, she said that nobody else on the show, like in the show, and I'm sure behind the scenes, but on the show, could make fun of Ricky's accent except for her. So if you'll watch the series again, he'll go on in one of his Cuban tirades, whatever, and in Spanish, and then she'll like mock him and do his accent, but you won't see any other cast member, any other actor, making fun of his accent, because she wanted to be like, no, we're not. Only his wife can do that. So didn't want to open the floodgates for other people to make fun of someone else's accent if they weren't like so intimate with them in that kind of relationship. So Lucille Ball, kudos to you. Leaning into my bias, let's go back to Mexico. Let's go down and celebrate Dia de los Muertos with Coco.
Oh yes. I'm so glad you got this one.
I get teary-eyed so often. I get so teary-eyed with this movie because my grandma, I'm getting teary-eyed right now. Beautiful, beautiful movie. Yeah, and so I can't talk more, or else I will cry, because it's just a beautiful movie that resonates with me so well, so much so. So beautiful film, looks fantastic. The songs are great, beautiful message. So Coco, yeah. Okay, pass. Go on to you.
Absolutely. Back to influential television. You ever watch Sábado Gigante?
Yes, not religiously, but it was always on in my grandma's house. On
Ditto.
TV. Yeah.
Always on in my grandmother's house, Sábado Gigante. And Sábado Gigante was filmed in South Florida, in Hialeah, where my grandparents lived. She was actually 5 minutes down from the studios. And as I was growing up, James, I don't know if you know, but I sing, right? I'm a singer. I've always sung, in elementary school. I used to sing a lot. And Sábado Gigante was this variety show, right?
Yeah.
And they would always have like little kid singers, and my grandmother was always trying to get me on the show, and I never actually did get on Sábado Gigante, but was it Don Fernando, right? And aplauso for every little thing, and the variety of skits and crazy things that they would do on this show. And it's not like any other variety show. I feel like American variety shows are like an hour long. Like Sábado Gigante was like 4 hours long. It was crazy. Non-stop craziness every day.
Yeah, I think the last people to try a variety show like that in America was not Nick Lachey. It's who's the singer? Jessica Simpson, right?
There you go.
Jessica Simpson and her husband from 98 Degrees, her then husband. I think they had a variety show, but that did not last long. And then before then it was like Donnie and Marie or whatever, the Osmonds. So that's a great show. Yeah. My mind is just flooding with memories right now. Beautiful, beautiful memories.
And I did get to take a tour of the studio, the Sábado Gigante studios,
whoa,
and some of the other shows that they shot there. So that was a highlight.
Awesome.
That was cool.
That's so cool. Okay, well, my last pick, I have several more, but we have to cut it off at some time. But my last pick is a movie that I recently watched this past year, maybe the year before, maybe last year. But it is the movie with Michael Pena, A Million Miles Away, the biopic of Jose Hernandez and his path from a farm worker to becoming an engineer and then an astronaut. So it's the tale of perseverance, community, and sacrifice, all wrapped up into one. So that was a great movie. I reviewed it, highly recommend it. Go ahead and watch that. I think it's on Prime, Amazon Prime right now. So that is one, A Million Miles Away, I recommend.
Awesome. I think that is a ton of recommendations. I think all of these movies are worth watching. Go ahead and have yourself like a little movie marathon and just soak in the fun, the music, the flavor, el sabor, tu sabes, right? The dancing, yes, my gosh. And remember that we were the ones that recommended that. So, como la flor, como la flor.
And plus, we taught you some Hispanic and Latino geographic facts.
Right.
There you go.
That's right.
Tell your friends.
Educating
impress
the
your
masses.
Friends. Yeah, impress your friends. Okay, let's see if this impresses us. But Jamie, you watched, I think, the first 2 episodes of Agatha All Along, the spinoff from WandaVision. Yay or nay? What do you think?
I say yay. Yay. I'm going to ask you at some point how you feel about whether you are over MCU shows right now, right? If there's that drag, that hangover of just too much. But you know what? I thought it picked up really well from WandaVision, right? Agatha, if you watch the end of WandaVision, minor spoilers here, nothing really like outlandish, but Agatha, who is left under a spell. She's trapped under the Scarlet Witch's spell, under Wanda's spell, and it picks up in the same way that WandaVision ended, right? She's trapped in a television show of her own. After she gets broken out of this, and that's not a spoiler, it's in the trailers, after she gets broken out of this spell that Wanda has left her under, Agatha Harkness recruits some unlikely allies on her quest to regain her former powers and to uncover the secrets of the Darkhold. And if you will recall, the Darkhold is that very powerful dark magic book that Agatha had, Wanda took, and that became the MacGuffin at the center of the Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness movie. So now we're talking about the Darkhold again in this series. The first 2 episodes are out right now on Disney Plus, and I was entertained. Everything kind of tied together pretty seamlessly, and I really just love watching Catherine Hahn. I think she's just got this way about her that I just love seeing. Her sass and her attitude and just the way that she approaches everything. But we get, surprisingly, a lot of really emotional beats and some slower, darker, sadder beats here instead of just all the fun and flair. So I'm enjoying it. You've got comic relief as well. There's a character played by an actor named Joe Locke. They just call him the Teen. And he's the one who helped break Agatha out of her spell. And he wants to walk the witch's road with her for who knows what reason. Aubrey Plaza is in this. Patti LaPonte. Deborah Jo Rupp, who plays the mom in that 70s show. And she is really, really delightful also. Ali Ahn is in this as well. So I'm enjoying it. Give it a chance, I might say. It's 78% on Rotten Tomato right now, so that's pretty good. So I'm reasonably confident moving forward that this will be a decent show, and I was not immediately turned off, James. So how do you feel? Do you think that this is something that you are going to watch, or are you just over it? Are you over the MCU shows?
Maybe not entirely all of it, but when, again, what's her name? Catherine Hahn?
Yes.
She was great in WandaVision. I really enjoyed WandaVision. But as soon as the series ended and they announced she's getting a spinoff, I'm like, that character, I don't know. So maybe it's good. You say it's good. I'm not eager or running to the couch to put it on immediately. So I don't know. I'm kind of in that thing where if something really has to catch my eye, catch my attention for me to either go watch it in the movie theaters or to watch it on Disney Plus or what have you. But yeah, as of right now, I'm going to wait and see how, what the buzz is for the rest of the season. And if it's you got to see this is like Breaking Bad of witches, then okay, maybe. But until then, I may not do that. But yeah.
But it's well timed for Halloween if you're looking for something in that vein, in that witchy vein.
Okay. Well, that witchy woman, if you're a fan of the Eagles, is going to get you. Okay, cool. All right, well, that was our thoughts on Agatha, all these other movies. I think this is time for movie trivia time.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
How do you feel?
I feel up to it. I feel like we've been doing so well.
Yeah.
And we've got to keep this up. So we're going to pull up some Cinequotes here.
Yeah, we're on an 8-game winning streak, by the way. So if you want to play with us, Cinequote is a game kind of like Wordle where there is a movie of the day, a mystery movie, and they give you up to 5 chances with 5 quotes to guess the movie. And we've been doing pretty well, as I said. And so today's game, if you want to join, play with us, go to Cinequote, cinequote.net, and we will be playing game 645.
All
645.
Right.
All right, Jamie, I'm getting in there. My volume is up, and I'm ready to play when you are.
All right, let's get it.
All right, 3, 2, 1.
That child's got too much spirit for a girl of her circumstance.
No, he's just some love.
Trouble is what it is.
I don't recognize this yet, no.
That child's got too much spirit for a girl of her circumstance. Nah, it's just summer love. Trouble is what it is.
Oh, okay.
Not ringing a bell, even with my own interpretation of it. We can try next quote.
Sure.
Okay, next quote in 3, 2, 1.
I want a white house with blue shutters and a room overlooking the river so I could paint.
Anything else?
Yes.
Oh, of course. Oh, I know what
A
this
big
is.
old porch that wraps around the entire house.
You know what this is.
Oh, is it The Notebook?
Yeah.
The Notebook. Okay,
There we go.
that seemed a little too easy.
That was pretty. I don't remember the first quote though, so that's fine.
No, but that's fun, yeah. All right, cool. All right, did you get it from the first guest, the second guest with us, or were you stumped because you've never seen The Notebook? That romantic classic with so many unlikable characters in hindsight, I think.
Yeah, I think if we did an analysis, like if we broke down The Notebook, we'd find a ton
We fill
of
in-
toxic,
Yeah.
Not
we
so
could
great.
fill a notebook with all the, bad reasons or reasons why they're bad for each other.
Yeah.
all
I'd
right, but
rather
you know
watch
what's not
Death
bad?
Note, but okay.
Death Note? Yeah.
You ever seen Death Note?
No. Is that the one based off anime?
Yeah. Yes. It's where they have the notebook, and if you write someone's name in it, they die.
Isn't, what's his name? The voice of the live action one. Willem Dafoe.
Uh-huh.
Willem Dafoe is the voice of like the monster, the ghost.
Right,
the
right,
death.
right.
Yeah. Okay,
Just
cool.
like him.
No, I haven't seen that, but I love Willem Dafoe, and I'm always down for Dafoeing it up.
Okay.
Well,
All right. Well, I think we defoed this up. We defoed it up. Well.
Yeah. Well, let us know what your favorite Latino, Hispanic based movies are. Are you going to celebrate this month? You don't have to be Latino or Hispanic. In fact, you know what? If you're not this month, you are. You're welcome. You got
Yes.
to pass. And so you have, let us know what your choice is. Also, have you seen Love in Taipei? Are you looking forward to Love in Taipei coming out next summer? Again, if you are an actor who is struggling right now with the current filmmaking lull in New England, reach out to us. We'd love to talk to you, pick your brain, let us know what your concerns are, what you're feeling, and what we can do to make things better here in New England as well. So, but Jamie, this was a great episode. Very surprisingly educational.
Educational. I know.
So that was great.
I mean, people should watch the. I mean, that's what life's about. It's about learning and having fun, and that's what we do here on the Hub on Hollywood. So, James, I think that everybody should subscribe right now so that they can keep growing their brains and their hearts with us.
Por favor.
Por favor, suscríbete. Ahora mismo, mira el botón ahí, aprieta la botón ahí.
I wish I could steal
abajo.
your Spanish and just insert it in me because it's beautiful. I need to learn Spanish more. Okay.
Sí,
Wow.
aprende.
All right.
Can you do an
Aprende.
R? Can you do the
I roll my R's like crazy.
Okay, well, I'm gonna roll my way out of here and just say adios y arriba y have a wonderful time, and we'll see you next time. Hasta el próximo.
Adios.
Adios.
Ciao.